Hi, this is Chad again from Russell Games. Today I'd like to show you the newest printable game, Pedal Beach. Actually, it's a retheme of an older game based around a bike race in the state of Maine. And this is all the cards included in the download with the optional card mats to help set up a little easier. Remember how to play during play. These little stickers you can put on the boxes you can get at your local hobby store or comic store, something like this. They usually hold about 100 cards with sleeves, like this. But this version is just laminated on both sides rather than sleeves. But I must say sleeves are a lot cheaper. It's a 2 to 4 player game. Lasts about 15 to 30 minutes for ages 14 and up, but younger players can play. And I'll just show you the setup as well as an optional way to score and one expansion to the game called Paddle Boats. So to start the game, you want to separate each player's pedals. This is a 2-player version I'm going to show you here. One player will have the little S-looking tire tread, and the other player will have the little V-shaped looking bicycle tread. And what you want to do is separate the 4 decks by those tread. So you want to have one player's left pedal to match the left side of their play area, and the right. Make sure that each deck is right. You want to make sure that the decks have one of the swerve cards in it, and then place it upside down in the middle. Now you want to make sure each deck is shuffled pretty well before the game, including this middle deck. But before I shuffle it, you want to make sure trophy cards to show who wins a round are set to the side. And hazard cards, such as the moose and the grizzly, are either all put in a deck or just one of each, or however you'd like to do it. We're going to put all of them in, shuffle a little bit, and then put one card on each side of the deck, and you're ready to go. Now, the first player to go, each turn will only take one pedal. So on one turn you're doing the right pedal, the next turn you're doing the left, and alternate back and forth through the entire game. Now there's 2 ways to play the game, which is you're doing this simultaneously, each player, or taking turns. And I'll show you the taking turn phase. So if this player was player 1, on his first turn, you want to flip the first card of the deck either left or right, and that's a turn. And doing this, you're trying to find he or she is trying to find the right pedal to match the right card, and the left pedal to match the left card. Now it's important to notice that each player sitting across from each other, their right pedal card is going to be different from the next player's pedal card. So even though they're both going the same card, the right pedal of one person is not necessarily going to match the right card of the next person to them. So the second turn would be player 2 would do the same thing, the right pedal, either right or to the left, and go back. Now as game progresses, you'll be able to you eventually have cards on each side of the middle deck. You'll be able also to flip card back to the center. You want to be able to spread your cards out that way so you have a better chance to get to the number that is at the center quicker. So good memory is important because if you remember which area you have the card, you can get to it quicker as it goes out. The swerve card, which you just saw, is for the hazards. You want to get that for the moose or the grizzly bears. That's all they're for. Other than that, you're just matching the number in the center. Now, as soon as the right pedal matches the card, you take it. If you're playing and refill it immediately, if you're playing at the same time and not taking turns, there's a chance that obviously that both players are going to get the same card at the same time. So, who gets it? Whoever placed their hand on it first. And the hand on the bottom of the two players is the one that's going to get the card. At the end of the round, whoever has the most go cards in a little collection pile is going to be the winner of that round and get a trophy, which can either end the game or usually just go 2 out of 3 rounds to see who wins. If there's a tie, you both get a trophy. Now the game ends obviously when this deck is completely gone and there are no cards left. But an optional way to score is this little, we call it the placemat, which helps keep track of what place you're in by first making sure that your tread matches the side of the board. So if this player was only one to get a pedal first, to put it on his player side on the bottom. Next player would put his on the bottom. And as the rounds go, you know who's ahead in the race so far. Now once it starts filling up, your 4th card will start at the bottom. But you know who's winning because whoever has the most cards in the pile closest to the top will be winning. And so on. So we end the game if it looks like this. The player with the S-shaped tread has won because they have 2 cards in the second row and the player has 1. So it's like I said, it's always the most cards in the row closest to the top of the placemat. And that's just an optional way to keep score. You don't have to count as many cards at the end of the game. Now another way to play is this little expansion called Paddle Boats. Now you want to play this as a separate game when you restart a new game and not start in the middle of a game like this. But play is the same as far as cards go. You probably want this in the middle of the table. And this gives you the option of bumping other players with your paddle boat and stealing gold cards from them that they've acquired. This is done by taking the gold card you acquired, obviously only the numbers apply. You divide the number you acquired in half and round it up. That's how many action points you get. Actions require 2 or 3 things to choose from, depending how hard you want the game to be. So for example, if you got this 5 card in your yellow, you get 3 moves. The rules help remind you of how many action moves you get. If I got card number 5 shown right here, I get 3. So those moves, action moves, have the options of moving, physically moving, a space, up and down, left or right, never diagonally, bumping, which is when you're beside, it costs 1 action move to bump somebody and steal their card, and a third action move is optional to make the game a little more challenging is orientation, where it costs a move to actually turn the direction you're traveling in your spot. For example, I might be here and I might go 1 move, 2 move to orientate that way, 3, 4, bump, 5, or something like that. Now it's important to note in this expansion game that you cannot bump the same player more than once on a turn, and you cannot bump the same player again on another turn until between the first bump and another turn you've been 2 spaces away from them. In other words, there's 1 gap. And it's the same as the original game. The person with the most gold cards at the end of the round gets a trophy and wins the game if you're not playing more than 1 round. So that is a brief introduction of how to play Pebble Beach and its expansion, Paddle Boats. I hope some of you get to download it or try it out and let me know what you think.